was going to be live, but it's also something new that I would like to start doing more often. I was about to record my next video for the week, and I thought, why not to go live and see if any of my followers would like to participate and would like to make some questions. I would like to offer the space from now on for anyone that has some questions around self-development, spirituality. Yeah, I'll be more than happy to answer. If today there are not many people active and there are not many questions, that's totally fine. I have a few themes that I'm excited to share about, and probably for the next one, I will give a little bit more notice so people can join and actually bring some questions. So there's this big theme that I've been reflecting about these days, and it's, I would say, as humans, is a theme that it presents a lot in our lives, and it's the theme of love. And I really wanted to see it with this theme this time because it's a tender one. I think everything that we experience in love, in romantic relationships, are things that can leave a mark for the rest of our lives. And I think the more we get to learn in this space, the more we can learn how to protect ourselves, or how to open up to this energy, to this experience, and yeah, to receive uh, the love and to share the love that we have to that we have that we get to which we get to share with others. So I've been reflecting about what are some lessons, what are some things that I wish I knew, let's say, early on in my romantic relationships, in my dating experience, in my dating experiences. And the first one that came to my mind, that I think, yeah, it would have been great if I learned, if I knew more about this. It was the idea that love, no matter what, it's going to hurt. I think we can say that it's not easy, or maybe there's not a way to get to learn how to unconditionally love without experiencing a little or maybe a lot of what is the opposite to unconditional love. So it feels also almost like we do have to go through some painful experiences through for people that are joining. This is my first live. I'm super happy that you guys are here, and I'm going to be sharing some themes related to love, but I also want to offer the space for anyone that might have questions, that are curious about self-development and spirituality. If you have questions, please feel free to share them while I continue sharing a little bit about this subject. So yes, I feel like pain, we as humans, we have the tendency to resist to pain. We don't want to experience pain. And I wish we, early on in life, we could learn a better relationship, a better way to relate with pain. Because when we come to these places of acceptance, of understanding that pain, it is what can guide us, what can teach us the lessons, what can show us, okay, this doesn't feel good for ourselves. So we want from this feeling, from this painful feeling, we need to start creating a new way, a different way to experience life. I think also, yeah, it shows us a lot. It teaches us a lot about what are our boundaries. Okay, if we bring the example of, you know, when we are playing with fire, when we are little, when we are kids and we are exploring for first time, you know, how close we can get to fire. only that sensation of, oh, this is painful, it is what allowed us to know, okay, this is how close, this is my boundary, this is the limit, and this is my boundary with this painful or this dangerous subject or experience. So I think that's one thing that I wish I knew, that there's gonna be pain in the space of love, and that it can be actually a positive thing, that it can actually teach us a lot of positive things. I feel like if I knew that early on, I wouldn't be as afraid. I would maybe come into a new romantic connections with a heart a little bit more open. So that's one thing that I wanted to share in this life. And the second theme that was coming a little strong for me, that I was like, yes, that's definitely something that in my early 20s, I wish I had more clarity about this. And it's the idea that there are many ways to describe the people we interact with, the people we get into relationships with. I like this version that says that we meet with three different types of people. Some people that come into our lives to stay very long time. I think we recognize that energy, and we recognize those relationships, those friends that no matter how often you talked with, how often you have FaceTime, you have video calls, or you speak on the phone with, they're always there for you. They hold this beautiful love and appreciation for who you are. So that's one type. The other type, I think, is the one that I'm like, oh God, I wish I knew this type of people existed, and they're meant to be what they are. And because I feel like in love, for a lot of us, the way we experience love, the way we learned how to experience love, there's a lot of attachment. There's a lot of this idea that we are going to meet one soulmate that is going to be our one partner for the rest of our lives. And in that process of believing that there's only one person, I think it's very easy to just create these expectations and to attach, to that one person, or to, the people that come into our lives. So understanding that there are people that come into our lives just for a short period of time, that there are people that come into our lives maybe just to shake our walls, to shake our lives, to bring an earthquake that is going to offer us, to give us a lot of lessons, and then they're meant to leave after that. I think it's a wonderful concept. Again, that's something that I wish I knew when I was younger. That also allowed us to, the next time we open up to a new romantic connection, in the moment we meet someone in the romantic space, that also gives us this awareness of, let's see, what's gonna happen. I'm curious about where this is gonna take us. If you're gonna be the type of person that is going to stay for a very long time, wonderful. But maybe if you came to shake my life, to bring me a little earthquake, that's wonderful too. And yeah, again, that allowed us that support us in that idea of not attaching to the outcome, not attaching to the idea that that person has to be either our boyfriend or the partner that is going to be with us for a very long time. And the third category, the third type of person, it's interesting to see it from this perspective, because it's the type of person that it's not meant to be in our lives. It's the type of person that we have to, and that's, I feel like we're constantly training ourselves to recognize these kind of people. It's a person that we are meant to say no, swipe, and say no, no, no. And it's super cool when we get to see from an outside perspective these three types of people, because we realize that it's so important that we have the people that are not meant to be in our lives, because interacting with these people, letting these people go constantly, is what allowed us to recognize maybe the ones that come into our lives for a little bit, or that allowed us to recognize the ones that are meant to be for a long period of time in our lives. So it's almost like I see it as a whole thing, like, you know, it's kind of cool. Yeah. I hope you guys are understanding the idea. With that whole description of the type of people we interact with, we have relationships with in our lives, I wanted to share this third theme in the concept, or this subject of love and relationships, of lessons. I think, yeah, it's something that it wasn't clear for me, that love relationships, romantic relationships, can be that wonderful space, where we get to be mirrors to each other, and we can receive, we can be the vessel for a lot of beautiful lessons, downloads, insights. I think, yeah, I think it is an insight that I wish I knew early, because if we enter the romantic space from this perspective, knowing that that's a possibility, that we could create that interaction, that dynamic with that other person, where we get to reflect one to each other all the shadows and all the light of who we are as humans. There's so much magic, and I'm sure if you are into the spiritual space, you have experienced a little bit of this with your closest people, with the people that you get to be intimate. But we often forget that in the romantic space, it is way more powerful. And I feel like after a recent experience, I'm like, there's no way I'm going back into the romantic space again without honoring this idea about love, the way I can see it and the way I want to honor it now, because it is so sacred, it's secret, it's sacred, it's just so magical. I think we get to experience these at different levels. The more aligned we are with the person, let's say if we are at the same level of consciousness, the same level of, you know, awareness, the more we can hold that space, the more we get to be those vessels to receive information and to reflect back, you know, not only things about love. This is the special thing that can happen here. I think most people are familiar about this, you know, when we are in those intimate relationships, it's like love is just one part of what we experience, but we get to reflect back, you know, our wounds. We get to reflect back to the person our gifts, right? So I'm starting to touch, you know, that space right now in my life, where I can see that that's one of the powers we get to experience in romantic relationships. That's something that I definitely wish I knew early on in my life. And again, I'm sharing this in this part of the second theme of the three different types of people we get to interact with, because a lot of the times the second type of people, which are the ones that come to rock our lives, to bring a little earthquake, a lot of the times these people come to reflect back something that we haven't been able to see, and sometimes it's not even connected, as I said, to love. Some of these people bring those karmic lessons that they need to be in our lives for a couple of weeks, a month, 3 months, to kind of help us to see those things that we haven't seen. So it's just very humbling, it's very beautiful when we get to start seeing love from this place, because allowed us to open up allowed us to remove the resistance and the attachment to the outcome, to believe that it has to be, this way, marriage or, a long-term relationship. It's allowed us to just experience the moment, to be present in the moment, and to receive, whatever it is that this person or this experience is going to bring into our lives. So yeah, the second thing was lessons. It can be a small, short lesson, or it can be a karmic, wonderful, powerful, transformative lesson. And the third theme that I'm thinking now that I might want to go a little deeper in another video, I kind of want to touch a little bit in this subject, because it is something that I'm pretty sure people into the spiritual space, into the self-development, it's something that we experience a lot. And it's this idea that we already know what kind of dating experience, what kind of relationship we want to experience, we want to have in our lives. And we continue seeing ourselves attracting similar dynamics, similar patterns. And we are like, wait, but I've been doing all this work. I've been shifting these dynamics. I've been shifting these behaviors. How come I keep attracting the same thing, right? So I was trying to find out a name for this third theme, and I think we can say that it's, yeah, I'm having a hard time finding a name, but how the one thing that we don't want in relationships, in romantic relationships, a lot of the times is the same thing that we are still doing, that we don't realize a lot of the times that that same thing that we don't want, in some ways we are doing it in our lives. So I think this theme, it's a little deeper, as I said, and maybe I would like to record another video explaining, breaking this down a little better, because it can be a little confusing. But for example, just to make it a little bit more clear, if the one thing that you don't want is control dynamics, you don't want to be around people that are controlling, you don't want to be with a partner that is controlling, and you keep seeing yourself in relationships attracting people that are controlling. So the invitation here, and I'm gonna leave it here for now, I'm gonna just give you a little bit of what's the name, ideas about the subject, and we can continue in another video. But the invitation here is like, okay, if this is the one thing that I don't want to attract in my life, and that's the one thing that is still presenting, where in my life I might be in this same energy, I might be doing the same thing. So if we're talking about control, what I might be doing that can be in that same energy, what am I controlling in my life? Just to share a personal example, something that I don't want to continue attracting, because I had a lot of that already in my childhood. It's that exact thing, control dynamics. And I've been sitting with that because I've been seeing that pattern coming up again in my life, and I'm like, where else, what area in my life am I still operating from the same energy? And what I came to realize is that in order for me to not be part of control dynamics, in that process of me not wanting that, I am having a lot of control thoughts, if we can say. I am doing a lot of thinking that translate to control, so I don't get into those dynamics. So it's the same energy. So it presents in different forms, right? Because what I'm attracting is actually the dynamic. But I am being in that same energy, trying to not be in that dynamic. I hope that's making sense. So it's just a little invitation, if maybe you relate to what I'm describing, to what I'm saying, If you feel like you are attracting something that you don't want, just I invite you to reflect a little bit. If maybe there's an area, there's a form how you might be in that same energy, the same energy that you don't want. I'm gonna leave that concept, that idea there for now. But as I said, I would love to explore and continue, exploring the whole thing a little deeper in another video. For now, thank you so much for everyone that joined. And I hope to see you in my next live. I will definitely will let you know in advance so you guys can have some questions ready. For now, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Happy Pride to everyone. So much peace and love until my next live.